Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel and the new video. First of all, I wanted to apologize for this long delay that I haven't been filming. There is no excuse actually, but there's been Fashion Week, then I had some private stuff and matters, so I couldn't find the amount of time to dedicate myself to this. But as I said, no excuses, and I decided to finally film this video that I've been promising to you. This time I want to talk to you about is life abroad. There are so many different topics to cover in this one, so I hope I will manage to do most of them because there are a lot of certain details. I even posted some stories for you I think a month ago to ask you what you're most interested in. So today I'm gonna cover that. I've been living abroad for 9 years now, most of the time in Italy. Well, actually 95% of the time. I came abroad with the intentions to study. That was the only intention why I moved. Since I was a little girl, my dream was to go live abroad because I was always very independent. I always wanted to do stuff on my own. So when the high school was coming to an end, I was deciding which university to attend. So given that Bocconi is very famous in Serbia, it came to my mind that I could try to apply. There were certain requirements in order to be accepted to the university. So starting from my 4th year at high school, I started getting ready, studying for the SATs exams, doing the language prerequisites exams, etc. And I finished everything actually in December. So I got accepted in the early round in February. I think my parents didn't even expect it right away because it was a very, very early admission. But given that I was accepted, I decided that it was the right thing to do. Ever since, I have I never regret to have done this because living abroad has brought to me so many perks, so many, it has helped me develop in so many different levels. I was actually always happy to have chosen Italy for many reasons, because country is very beautiful, people here in Milan are very open-minded, then the university was one of the best ones. And it offered me so much during these years, both in a professional, private way. I have met so many new people. And actually those 3 years of my bachelor program were the best ones that I could ever ask for. And I would even go back now if I could. I mean, the life now is good, it's better. But the way it used to be, it was something very, very special. First, I did 3 years in my bachelor in Bocconi. Actually, I did the international course with the major in finance. Then I moved to Barcelona to work for 6 months, after which I did IGMAT, and then I was accepted back here to do the Master of Science. I was actually accepted also in ESADE school, business school in Barcelona, but then I decided to come back here because I really wanted to go back to Milan. Most of the questions that you guys asked me were with regards to my university. Which actually makes sense because that was the most of the time that I've been living here. I was actually in Bocconi. Regarding the courses and grading, I don't know what exactly are you interested in, so I would like to ask you to ask me questions down or on my Instagram or whatever you want. But in general, for my bachelor, I did International Economics Management and Finance. That was the course back then. Now you can find more courses in English. That was the only one which was in English back then. 9 years ago, I think. Regarding that, we all had the same courses the first year and a half, in which you do the basic stuff like macroeconomics, statistics, history of economy, management, everything that is more or less important for everyone, law, business law, private law, corporate law, everything like that. And then after a year and a half, each student has a chance to choose which major it wants to attend. My choice was to do finance. Most of the people went for management. It was not compulsory to do an internship, but it was highly desirable. After when I applied for my Master of Science, I completely changed the courses, and I applied for the economics and management in in arts, culture, media, and entertainment, which was something that I actually really loved. And in that Master of Science, you could also choose your path after a year, because it's 2 years this time. And this time I chose the major in fashion, which was my dream. It was the same concept that people who chose, I don't know, tourism, media, or something. They all had different classes, but most of all we did all the time business. So for those of you that maybe are studying, I don't know, history of art or something, I would recommend you to reconsider if you want to apply to this one, because even though it's fashion, media, arts, and we're dedicated to those industries, you still have to know a lot of finance, a lot of statistics, a lot of economical background, so it's not easy. I had classmates that were studying something completely different than business, and they really had difficulties to attend all the classes, because at the end you really had to have the basis for everything of that. My thesis for the Master of Science, I didn't do it in fashion. I turned more to the tourism industry, because I had something very interesting in mind. What could I cover? And I had a very good professor. But even though it was tourism, my thesis for the Master of Science was dedicated to finance. So it was rather difficult, and you had to have some basis in order to finish it. So that would be more or less regarding the courses. Then grading, it comes to 30 cum laude. In order to pass the exam, you have to have 18. I would say that in Bocconi, in general, both in Master of Science and Bachelor program, it was not hard to pass an exam. What does that mean? It was not hard to get an 18. So every student that studies just even a little bit can pass the exam. But in order to get a very high grade, in order to make your average like very, very high, even 29 or even more, you really had to study a lot. I hear a lot of people saying, maybe, I don't know, at my home, that like Bocconi is a very easy thing because it's a private university, but actually it's quite the opposite. So in order to get like all the lowest marks, it was not hard. But if you really wanted to show off and go to good schools for exchange, or even maybe work in a bank later because they look on your average after you graduate, it was really, really, really hard, and you really had to study a lot, and professors really put you on probation so many times. And I think I wasn't even aware of what I was going into when I was applying for this. But as I said, it was a very, very good experience. This regarding the studying was very good even after, when I did a couple of internships, because then I noticed during my working hours and like all the projects we had to do, people who came from Bocconi were much more prepared, were much more ready, were thinking much faster, did a brainstorming that was much more efficient. So in those moments, actually, it was when I realized that this university has given me a lot. If you have some other questions regarding grading courses, just drop me an email or write me a comment here or on Instagram, and I would be happy to help if possible. You were guys interested a lot in jobs and internships. So one of the perks that Bocconi offers here is that their career service is very, very, very good. They have very good relations with so many big companies from many different industries, starting from fashion, a lot of finance banks, corporations, consumer goods. So whatever you are interested in, Bocconi is there to help you. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean that you just show up, or I don't know, on a job fair, or you go to a professor or something and then they find you a job. That's not possible. So the possibilities are there. They offer you so much, but the thing is, like, you are the one who has to try and go there and be out there and send your CVs and go for interviews, try, prove yourself, because guys, the competition here is very, very, very big. As I said, there are a lot of opportunities, but as there are a lot of opportunities for you, there are a lot of opportunities for other people too, other students. Maybe for some of them that are even better at something than you, then they speak more languages, they, I don't know, they're faster at some thinking or something. So in general, Bocconi offers a lot. There are a lot of things that you could, that you can actually get, but you're the one that has to be out there and work for yourself. Bocconi organizes twice a year, I think in November and in April, the job fair, where you can, where there are a lot of companies present and you can give out your CVs and try to get an internship or even a job. They usually look out for an internship, and that's usually how it goes. You first do an internship and then they keep you if they're satisfied or if they're like hiring. What I did is after my bachelor, I did a gap year and I worked 6 months in a risk management consultancy firm. So I wanted to see if I actually for finance as I finished during my bachelor. I wasn't here, I was in Barcelona. And it was an amazing experience because I got to see how everything works. It was a rather small company, but it was American one. So my working hours were a bit different because I had to be in contact with New York all the time. In any case, I realized that was not something it was for me. I realized I needed something more creative, something that requires a bit of thinking out of the box. But it was a very, very important experience for me and for my future academic career. After that, then I decided to go for Master of Science in a bit more media branch. After my Master of Science, in which doing an internship after the end of 2 years is compulsory because it provides credits for graduation. Thanks to Bocconi, actually thanks to that career service they offer, I applied and applied and applied, and you guys have no idea how many rejections I had. I think I was applying and doing interviews for 6 or 9 months. I mean, I don't want to scare you. That's normal because in a sense, I don't think because they didn't get me that I was bad at something. The thing is that just maybe they needed something that someone else had better, or maybe I was for something different that they didn't offer at that point of time. So the important thing is that you just continue looking and looking and looking and just be persistent, because I even did interviews with so many big companies like Stella McCartney, who at the beginning said no, Dolce & Gabbana, L'Oreal. I went even to London for a couple of interviews. So the important thing is just to be out there and just keep sending and be the best version of yourself. And after those long months, I was chosen for Valentino internship and Stella McCartney at the same time. The same day they called me in a round of 1 hour. So I think I remember I was just like, what? I cannot believe it, because like generally everyone was declining my request. So just keep believing and do your thing. So I did an internship in Valentino. It was for 3 months. It was a very good experience too, because it was my dream to work in such a very big fashion company. I decided to leave after 3 months because I had a couple of exams to finish and then graduate, and I wanted to dedicate myself to blogging because I figured that it was starting to go very well. I had faith that I would manage to do everything on my own, because I'm a little bit that type of person who has her own time. I like when I can organize how I work. So that was my decision. I was really wondering whether to do that or not, and it was not an easy decision to make, but I just I was sure and I believed in myself that that was something that I really needed to do. Another thing regarding Bocconi, and maybe it's not about the career service internships, but what I would advise you, even if you go to another university, what is really important is that to keep contact with the professors that you really love listening their lectures, the ones that are inspiring you. I have to say that I had a couple of professors that were really, really good, and I still keep in touch with them, and they are amazing professionals. And even now, when I just go to meet them for, I don't know, coffee or something, I still learn a lot. And I'm proud to say that even today, my thesis for the Master of Science has been turned into a study case in Bocconi. So every year around October, November, I go and have a lecture with my professor, and we talk about my my thesis to the class that I actually attended a few years ago. So that was one of the accomplishments that I'm very, very proud of. So you just have to, saying it again, believe in yourself. But this is not the motivation video, so I'm just gonna keep it short. But my point is that even at university, it's already a fight how to get a job, get good grades, be to stand out there, and to be the one that actually is worth of everything, because as I said, the competition is huge. Another topic that I wanted to cover with you besides university life is our costs. This was a very interesting topic that many of you asked, and it's a very interesting one. Actually, it's not very complicated. There is only one thing to say, and that is that Milan is a very, very expensive city. So perks of that is that wherever you go, you don't get surprised. So whenever I go to New York, Paris, London, I've been to Copenhagen, Amsterdam, everyone was like, oh, but was it very expensive? And the answer is always not really, because living here makes everything everywhere else just as expensive as it is here. So the only thing that I could say that is not so expensive is the public transport. But if you want to go with the cab, Uber is banned, so you have to take a taxi. I never go with the cab, only if I have to, if I go to the airport, or I don't know, I never go to the airport with a cab, but like to the train station. But in general, everything here is very, very pricey. The reasons for that are just there are a lot of tourists, there are a lot of students coming, just because there are a lot of universities that you have here. Many of them are becoming international. So usually what you find for living is just like apartments that are not very in a good condition for a very high price, because the demand is huge. Even hotels are very pricey, so living in Milan can be quite a challenge, actually. For example, when I go to the supermarket, I usually know which supermarkets to go to, which ones are the cheapest. I'm not the type of person that actually pays attention to that, but sometimes you just have to. I cook a lot. I go to restaurants. I love going to restaurants. I like eating sushi. I like go for a pizza. I go for Chinese food or whatever. I don't limit myself in those things, but I prefer sometimes just to cook and eat something healthy, actually. When I used to live with 3 other roommates a couple of years ago, we used to call a lot of friends to have dinners. Now I do that less because I live alone. So I do something a bit more calm. I like to have friends over, but not usually for dinners anymore. But in general, the point of everything is that Milan is quite expensive. You get used to it after a while, and then of course if you start earning more money, but you just have to with time learn how to make priorities, which I did, on what you want to spend, on what you don't want to spend, what it's important to you, what it's not. So that's just a trick in that. You can find everything if you want to. For example, I appreciate a lot that coffee here is quite cheap, because I like to drink coffee whenever I go to Paris or some other city. Like, coffees are usually very, very expensive. But then again, yes, you just have to find your places where you like to sit, where you like to chill. I love Straff in the city center, which is actually a hotel, but then you have a bar outside. I like Juice Bar. I like going, having a pizza in Spontini, which is not very healthy, but I recommend it. It's very good. I like sitting in like bars that are close to university, because I like to go back to that area. So you can find everything for everyone, but in general, if you want to come live here or spend a couple of months, just be ready because the city is quite expensive. If you come here, I suggest to you that you learn the language because it is important. Italians don't speak English that much. Some of them, yes, but usually you have to speak Italian in order to, if you want to have a real conversation. And after 9 years, I learned quite well. And I'm actually very proud of that. And not just that, I learned other languages too while being here because, as I said, while studying, a lot of people had a lot of skills. So if you wanted to prove yourself, you had to just be out there and invest. So one of the things that I did was just studying a lot of languages. So if you want to come here, study Italian. That's like my warmest advice for you. That would be more or less it. I know I missed a lot of stuff, but as I said, it could be a very long video. So if you have anything in particular that you want to know, just write me. I can maybe collect a couple of questions more and then do another round of video like this one. I hope it was helpful and that you enjoyed it, and write me what you think about it, and see you soon.